All right, all right. Hello, hello. Welcome everyone back to an impromptu We Are All
Oh
Wrecked
my God, I'm ruined. We're all ruined. Oh my God.
happy hour show.
Not so happy hour.
Uh,
No,
Thanks,
well, I mean,
Richard.
if you're Big
happy
K,
adjacent. Yeah.
I'm having
if
a
you're
lovely
Big K, every day is happy hour with the midday rosé over there.
Yes.
Oh.
A glass of whispering angel.
Might
So
start drinking again.
welcome, gents. I guess the breaking news is, eHEX is wrecked. Pulse chain forever.
Yes, the Lord has
Maybe.
spoken.
I don't know. I mean, it depends upon the narrative and what you're trying to push and who you're trying to get to sell, perhaps, and all of that. But yeah, that was the tweet from Richard here. Let me just read it. One hex on Pulse Chain is worth 1.29 hex on Ethereum. It looks like the market has chosen hex on Pulse Chain to be more valuable than hex on Ethereum. The first pick shows hex going up versus eHEX, blah, blah, blah. So I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but did we not pretty much across the board, I would say easily the majority, expect at least a premium for hex, pulse chain hex or hex, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Like this is not shocking in the least, but of course, Tobiwan, if you want to bring up that chart of death.
To be honest, I expected it to be much worse.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. And you have the other side, like perhaps a
Well-
Professor Chaos who was thinking they'd be closer together, right? So,
I
Big K,
mean,
your thing.
I feel like it's easier to have imagined a larger parity if the price was higher, or a larger disparity if the price was higher. Like if we're talking one was at 6 cents and one is at 4 cents or whatever, but like when we're down as low as where we're at, this seems about right.
Yeah. I think the question is, I guess, how low can it go in terms of like how
like
far
low.
can the ratio go, I guess. So I was just chatting it up with Yash Deep. Of course, he's got his side or whatever, and he said 80-20, which I think, that's
That's harsh.
quite the ratio.
5-1? Are you kidding?
But
I mean,
No.
I
But
don't
Papah,
see.
this is crypto. Things can go way more higher and way more
Lower than you
there.
could ever
That's true.
imagine.
That's
yes.
true. I mean, you got to figure that the ratios, you got to, like, when you look at other things similar, Bitcoin Cash had a ratio that was almost, 2-to-1 at one point in time, and then now is considerably
precedent.
lower, So, like, the market takes time to decide. And, I remember looking back that if you had listened to Richard about that, you'd be doing much better than I was at the time. But yeah, so that is a perfect example that, like, it could change dramatically over time. I mean, I have said a couple times now that I think that the ratio between Pulse and PulseX, I think, is going to be dramatically different in the future. But I mean, that's
in what way, Big K?
I think it was going to be a wider margin. I think that Pulse will, like, in a similar way as the Uni to Ethereum or anything else, any other exchange token versus the base layer token, there could be anywhere from I think that a 2.5-to-1 premium is really pretty incredibly slim right now.
Yeah,
That's
Big
not-
K.
Even with Big Buyer Barry waiting in the wings?
I mean, I like all the bees that are out there, but I don't. I'm not sure that that's gonna, like, account for, like, I mean, the big buyers really in the world in general that we're looking for is adoption or other people. So, like, you can't just, like, expect, big buyer Barry is, I mean,
He can help reduce the supply.
He could help, but, like, I mean, so could hex stakers. And a lot of hex stakers exist, and a lot of hex was staked. And how did that work out? Like, did that work out like every other coin that's out there that's gone up and down a whole lot? you know. So like
seems like
they-
we are
they-
in a speculative market. Sorry.
it feels like people forget that like that this is all like majority 90% of what we're doing here is narrative based, you know. So like I'm not saying that these aren't also nice things to have, and I agree that they're good, and I'm not trying to discount. Like I'd much rather have a system that has big buyer berry than one that doesn't, you know. But I think that the usefulness of a network over time will outweigh the usefulness of an exchange token, which is already notably not without competition.
Can I say something here, Big K? I think you just touched on something when you said if you would have listened to Richard, you would have done considerably better, and that really just that brought me back to the fact that when Richard made a clear call, I profited greatly when he made the lows in Bitcoin. He specifically said, you know, I want to buy it when it's in this trough and it's coming in the next couple of months. I wouldn't buy it now. I'd buy it in the next couple of months. Picked it up there. And then when he said we're dropping out of the parabola, now if I were a betting man, I would say that it's going down. Yep, it's going down. And here's how far it's going. Very clear. Do you think that this is a call? I read it as an observation. I think it's maybe market swaying, but it's an observation. I don't think it's a call yet. What do you guys think?
No, I mean when he did Bitcoin Cash, he was very clear when he did telling people, "Hey, you've got the opportunity to sell this thing for this other thing now at this ratio," and I think it's a good ratio, you know. So like I think that was a very different. This is not a call to necessarily dump one or the other, but it is. But like I mean, he also has to understand that a good number of people are going to view that as an implication of such, you know,
as we saw on the chart.
Yes.
So that Toby
Immediately after tweet
Right.
carnage.
Yeah, about the 15 minutes following the tweet, we dropped about 11%. So I was just trying to find some patterns, some sort of understanding of market logic and psychology. The measured move of the pattern that we seem to have been in would take us a little lower than we are now, down to about 0.96 cents. So yeah, I mean, I think the move's probably, and like other times we've seen tweets of Richard, it's like, typically there will be a pump or a dump to the next area of support. The area of support I was looking at was around a penny. Was the next layer down. After that's like 873, and then the doomsday one I see is the James Bond 007, which could still be incoming. We'll see kind of what the fallout from this is, if he does any clarification on what his thoughts are moving forward. I think staking behavior is going to be a factor in like who participates more on which chain. Staking behavior changes and there's considerable more yield to be had on eHEX, then that would favor larger stakers to be participating over there more so than on PHEX, especially if it's a considerable discount. Yield is yield. If it's new dollars coming in and you're making 45% a year instead of 38 or whatever, that's significant if your stakes are big enough. So time will tell. It'll play out. I mean, it was a little discouraging, to be honest, but long term, it's like this is to be expected. The market's going to decide which is more favorable. And I would just be cautious because it's like there are people with dogs in the fight, So if they're really leaning hard into one being the one and more or less claiming that the other is going to zero, be wary of those people, because that just screams of bias.
That's my, I guess, issue. So that's the only thing that I don't like about this. Like I said earlier, I think this premium versus discount was expected. It's the pushing or optics of pushing of a narrative in the community, and Hexkins pick up on that. I mean, they're already trained on scams and whatnot, but they're also very protective of their bags no matter what side they're on, even if the premium is expected. However, I just think there's a better way of going about it rather than taunting or on one side to fit your narrative, or crying on the other side and then attacking back. And it's just like, we're all in this thing together. And I've said this before as well. If you need to sell like a percentage to help you sleep better at night, why not? I think a lot of people have sold some eHEX for PHEX. Others have perhaps gone all in on one side and then have pushed their narrative afterwards a little harder than others. So
yeah, I mean, narratives are super strong like that when you have a preconceived notion about things, because I mean, like, whether you like it or not, you vote with your with your mind. You make up your mind first, and then you click the buttons next,
and then you're loud about it,
and then you're loud about it after that. It's just no like stopping that feeling. I mean, I like when I saw us up at the top of things, I sold some of the coins that I had, and like my bias, like just I'm a bull in this entire ecosystem. I have been from the start, but like in a moment of like realizing where I think things were going and understanding it, I was like, I had a thought, made a maneuver, and then had a bias, and like I could feel it in the moment. You can't help but feel it in the moment, and then your bias takes over and like becomes. Then it's hard to change your bias until you decide to make another, change your mind and make a different economic decision. I mean, that's like just how it works. So like having an open mind is really difficult for any of us that have actual investment dollars on the table. Like it's super difficult. So like, I mean, being aware of that is at the very least, understand that that's what's going on with most people that are saying anything about these projects one way or another on Twitter, on Telegram, wherever you're here.
And who knows who finds value and what size of dormant capital finds value in something. I mean, Toby mentioned the yield earlier, and we had Buck on last week, and he was like, if it gets to 4-1, he's like, I'm not passing that up. Now you can believe him or not at your own peril, but Buck has bags, and I mean, Buck can move the price, and if it gets that low, wallets like that.
I mean, yeah, and the thing is, it's like you got to remember that there's more than just there's buyers and sellers, but there's also liquidity providers, and there's still people more than willing to provide ample amounts of liquidity existing on both chains. So like everyone's not gone. And there is, like we said from the beginning, there's some sort of math formula ratio worked out where people, based on your bag size, based on the Ethereum fees, based on what you think, staking behavior becomes, that makes it, financially, like a good decision, smart decision for you to stake on the one versus the other. I don't know exactly. I don't know. I personally am not running the numbers on that, but like I'm sure some people are, and they should be. There's advantages. There's an edge somewhere,
Before we get too far into it, just real quick, I want to say hello to everybody in chat who has at least said hello. So what's up, Kaiza, Andre, the FOMO-phobist, Tigray, back up the trucks, a wild SJ appears.
Oh, hello.
Bluey is in the chat. Effortless is here. Vets in crypto. What's going on? CP, Seek 5555, Crypto Stylist talking French to us. What's up? Trevor Hansen, what's going on? Crypto Compassion, Senor Hilarski, what's going on, my man? Who else? Red Squirrel, what's going on? Say hello if you're here, everybody. Hex Logic, we will get to your questions shortly. What's going on? Yellowtail, Agenda 69. And Klaus, not Schwab, but Klaus S. He's here with us as well. So, yes, Peter, you were going to say?
Yeah, talking about liquidity. What's your guys' take on the bug and burn stuff going on V1? Why do we have two versions of PulseX? Papah B, I have to cry about it.
I know. Go ahead.
Because I don't like that.
Because I don't like that.
And I'm biased. Why are we supporting buggy software?
I will just ask: was it the quickest, easiest solution, or somebody else have an idea? I don't know. I've been like on the road, and I guess I'll just say
So you
this.
don't
This
know.
show was supposed to be from the show was supposed to be from the beach. My travel plans have been altered by the Canadian charcoal factory pretty much causing everything, everywhere. So it's like
It's Armageddon.
I'm sorry for you, Cabana.
you can't even go outside.
That sucks.
It's absolutely ridiculous, but hopefully in the coming days. But anyway, was that the quickest, easiest solution, or Big K or anybody else have an idea as to why that is, or if they will merge in a V3 one day, like the V1, V2? What's going on?
It's funny. Moving liquidity is an interesting thing, So, like, I don't know, because like there's still like version 1 liquidity on Uniswap that people can, like there still exists, like you can still interact with that
But
smart
why
contract.
does it exist?
Why? I mean, because people haven't, maybe it's because people just never took it out. Some people forgot that they put it in there and they just left it in there,
I
don't
think
know.
it's
Forgotten
because
liquidity.
of the farms.
Well, no, oh no. On PulseX, it's definitely because of the farm. That's it's definitely to separate the fact that like you have to make a decision now whether you're going to make incentive token or you're going to make fees. That's
with fees with no freaking volume though.
yes,
That was
you get no volume on this.
Pissed me off.
Yes, so you either get
You can earn
fees with no
fees.
volume because no one's going to trade on that version until there's some sort of aggregate that's out. When there's an aggregate that's out that looks at both of them, you'll get more fees. I don't know if it's going to be the amount of fees that you want, because people will tend to try and go to use the thing that, I mean, I don't know. I guess it still takes the fees when users are using it either way. Like if you're using V1 or V2, you still pay the fees as a trader,
Yes,
But
Like,
but hold on a
end
second.
user,
Papa?
Explain this, Peter, because we were on the same place. Peter and I were both jumpers to V2.
Yeah.
We both owned a huge percentage of the pie, and we
Yeah,
both
I
saw
was looking at
nothing
the-
happen at all for 24
Why
hours.
am I 10% of the pool for like 12 hours still? This
yeah,
is
because no one's
weird.
coming. Because no one's
Yeah.
coming. Everyone's trying to make incentive token, which
Yes.
I mean, again,
And
it's funny. It's
argue-
really.
I argue
Richard
this-
never liked incentive token to begin with. He didn't like wasn't like thrilled with the idea that when he was convinced that we had to have it in the system, it
it's
took
a
some
great thing.
strong convincing. So him getting a chance to force liquidity providers' hands to make a decision, albeit somewhat arbitrary, is very interesting. I mean, it's a piece of this that I wasn't expecting to happen. But and I don't think that you're going to get version 1 to ever be gone entirely. Like you're not going to probably have a V3 because then you have to force people to manually click buttons, and a lot of people just won't.
Well, my plan was to just provide liquidity and don't click buttons for a long time, but I didn't.
Yeah, but
And-
that's the thing.
I mean,
is
this early, you need to
I
monitor
resist.
it.
I will
Yep.
will argue that this split between those two versions, it's bad for Ink token because people, everyone wants to earn Ink token. It makes economic sense to be on V1, but it's a little bit worse for Ink because people don't make the fees. And they
sell
somehow
just
want to
exclusively
secure
Ink.
some kind of reward, so they are incentivized to sell the incentive token.
I hear where you're coming at with that. I mean, you could also, I mean, I could argue the other way, but I don't feel like it's as strong of a case. But I do think that that it doesn't really matter. As far
It's dump
either way-
token, yes, of course.
Yes, that's what I mean. Is I think that most people are going to get it and sell it until right now. And I mean, and at the moment, besides Big Buyer Barry, the same goes with PulseX in the sense that until you give you're right now owning either of those tokens for long term has the like in the midterm, you know, you have to expect that someone else is going to build something else to use those tokens for something else, because what are they actually doing right now?
I mean,
Well, it's like Hedron. When Hedron first came around, you know, Alex had a trick up his sleeve.
Yeah, no, that was
people were not aware
brilliant.
of.
It was, you know, and that.
But
and
initially,
like,
it looked
his
like a forever
launch
dump.
like that. His launch like that will make me forever question token launches like this.
Always
like,
in the
right?
back of your head.
Right?
Comes
What
in my
next?
out with shit. I'm like,
what's
what the fuck else
next?
is
Right?
happening out here? You know, no, I agree, and like good on him for doing that. And you know, part of me, the speculative gambler part of me, what really hopes that there is more cool, fun things to come. That there is, you know, because there's going to be single-sided staking. Is that enough to like get people to convince enough people to pull enough off the market for long enough to make the price pump to insane, you know, the levels that people are dreaming of? I don't know. So that's why I don't think so. But like, but I mean, I'm like I said, I'm open to other ideas and other things. But I think that's by owning those tokens at the moment, you're kind of speculating on something like that happening.
yes,
Absolutely.
of course.
Yeah, I see the chat a few times now has mentioned the confusion that the V1, V2 toggle creates. Also, it's odd to me that there are liquidity pools on V1 that do not get the incentive token that are still present. Like, that doesn't make any sense for those to not have moved over.
That's weird.
And there are some tokens like eHEX. Like, dude, I was looking at eHEX last night, and depending on if you were on V1 or V2, there was a significant difference in how much eHEX you would get. So
there's definitely, I mean, it makes the liquidity is, you know, the prices will be slightly different, the slippage will be different, you know, and until there's some sort of router between them, you're not gonna, like, the only balance that will be is when, you know, bots or arbitragers come in to try and net profit off of those.
And
you know,
that's weird because there are some huge arbitrage options, and no, I don't see it being equalized immediately. That's a weird observation for me.
Well, I think there's not enough players yet, and I think it's just like the ease of getting in is just now the doors have just kind of opened. You know, with, I mean, how many people were sitting on PulseX bags, had no Pulse to be able to even interact. So now the native Pulse bridge thing is working. But how many people know that?
There are bots that are operating on a network that weren't like a week and a half ago or whatever. Right. So I mean, like, there are players that are coming. But I mean, like, it's a matter of, like I said, there's a bunch of factors. How much of the liquidity is on either side? Is there enough to buy one and net, you know, profit from and sell it on the other and make the fees work out and everything? I don't know.
But that confusion of having to toggle back and forth.
Oh, my big.
Toby, you
just
unplugged Toby.
That are getting in.
There he is.
Pardon?
Back.
Exactly. Correct, Toby. You're absolutely right. Yep.
Your audio.
I agree with you. You were gone for a minute, but now you're back. Weird.
I'm back. But yeah, I was just saying, it's like the V1, V2 thing. I think it's confusing for noobs. So,
for sure.
You know, that's,
I mean, it's just
another
confusing
barrier
in the sense,
to entry.
It's slightly annoying in the sense that when you have a contract address on one side and you're looking at liquidity, and then you hit the other side, it loads a new page. So now I have to copy and paste that address over again. You know, it's just like, sure, I'm a baby. Like, assuming.
Well, but even on eHEX last night, there was a point that I was looking at it that between V1 and V2, it was 10% different.
Mm-hmm.
You would get 10% more coins if you were trading on V2 than V1. And it's like, whoa. It's like, if you didn't toggle that right, and you're trying to buy the dip on eHEX and you're not paying attention, it's like, bro, you didn't buy a dip, you bought a premium. So it's like, you know, shit like that's going to piss people off, and it just, I don't know. I'm hoping it gets to a point where you don't have to toggle between versions, and it keeps it. I mean, it's all about streamlining and keeping it simple, ease of access.
People, we're so early on in all of this too. That's another thing too. That's like super interesting about us versus other like projects in like launches that I've seen. It's like there's never been like such a strong streaming community that's just gonna talk ad nauseum and pick things apart so in such detail. That, like, it just doesn't happen like that. It's like, I mean, when Ethereum came out, it fucking sucked, man. It was not fun to use, and like doing anything though. I mean, there was no MetaMask. You were using like a web wallet to interact with Etherscan.
My Ether wallet.
my Ether wallet or me or whatever. And
Jeez.
yeah, so like that all sucked, and like it took a long time for like the value to be built out in the sense that people to actually, build the tools that were necessary. And I mean, I can remember like having Ethereum at a very good price and selling it at also a very shit price and being like, this shit sucks, and not liking it and not having the foresight at the time to realize that it was going to get much better. And this will too. I mean, at the moment, people are ready to throw the baby out with the bathwater, and like we haven't gotten anything yet. Like we've gotten a bunch of meme coins. There hasn't actually been any real utility projects that were like all the things that people are actually should be excited for. None of them have actually launched their thing like third party wise on Pulse yet. So
Yeah,
like we
coming
have
in the
like
next
the-
month or two, like the doors have barely just cracked open.
barely been cracked
Right.
open, so like we
Well,
got a
even
long
like
way
the
to go.
sacrifice tokens, the things people sacrificed for that were highly anticipated, liquid loans, Mintra,
all those
Portal
things,
X isn't
none of
out
them
there
are
yet.
out.
It's like all those things, like all the
Mhm.
things that are actually have utility and like people are hyped to use, they're not even there yet. So it's like, I think the big question is, and we were talking about this in the green room prior to coming on, is there's this kind of like survival of the fittest narrative and kind of this machismo that Richard exudes and a lot of people rally about, which is like which could, in one scenario, you could imagine Richard being like, hey, you know what, my firstborn son, it's like he was hit in the head by like a frisbee from Vitalik, and now he's retarded. So we're just gonna like stick him in the basement and not worry about him as much. But my other kids are like super athletes, so we're really just gonna focus on them and forget about the tard in the basement. And it's like Vitalik clipped him. I'm sorry, that's how it goes. And then people would rally around that, right? And they would
This
be
is
like, "You're right,
Toby's
it's like survival of the fittest."
autobiography,
It's like,
by the way.
yeah, right. No doubt.
How was the
Cancel
basement,
me,
Toby?
Please cancel me, dude. I'm in the basement right now. This is all fake. I borrowed this background from Kareem. It's one of those fancy, not real apartments. But yeah. So it's like there's that narrative, and then there's the other, which is like Richard can't abide a black eye. He can't have a chart in his arsenal of things that he's created that looks like dog shit. And if you're trying to onboard someone to PHEX or Pulse or any of it, and they start to dig around a little bit, it's like, well, wait a second. It's like, what about this chart over here that's like down 98% and just doesn't look like it's ever getting up? And you're like, oh, well, it's the same code. And it's like, but over here, it's better because it's on his blockchain. It's like, oh, you mean the guy that created the thing that's down 98% and never got up? I can't see him abiding that. Not like he's going to do anything to manipulate it. And I think eventually the market will kind of realize the code is the same on both. There's going to be pros and cons to owning both. And, is it an 80-20 like Yashdeep is saying? Is it a 30% premium? Is it a 40%? It'll balance out over time, just like Big K was saying with the Bitcoin Cash thing. Is it going to be that big of a disparity? 90-10? Maybe. I don't know. But if you're talking about new money coming in, it's all about gains from the entry, right? So is this a good entry for eHEX? Maybe. Is eHEX going to outperform price performance wise over PHEX next 6 months because we've taken a pretty good hit to the downside? Maybe, or maybe there's more downside and there's going to be a bigger gap. It's all speculation. Nobody fucking knows. We're just all talking heads on the internet, puking more of this stuff out there because we're trying to figure it out too. But ultimately it's going to be what's going to be. And you vote with your dollars. It's like, I didn't do any trading between my eHEX and PHEX. I followed, the simple path of like, hey, I've got duplicates. I've got my stakes on both sides. I got my liquid on both sides. Ta-da. New capital, I'm deploying that differently depending on my sentiment. Is PulseX the best discount available right now? Is eHEX the best discount available right now? What do I think? What am I doing with my money? So I'm buying eHEX, I'm buying PulseX, at these prices, but mostly eHEX, to be honest. It's like I have bought PHEX as well, but proportionally, I think, the bargain is in eHEX. But that, that's for everyone to decide. And some are going to guess right and some are going to guess wrong. In time, as the bull market kind of takes its footing and starts getting to go, it's like I think it's all going to do great. I have the utmost confidence in that, or I wouldn't still be aping money in at this point. It's like my fiance is like, "How much more do you need? Why are you still buying?" I'm like,
Well,
I can't resist
honey,
the bargain.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt, right? It's like it's fine. Seriously, it'll be fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's good. We're good.
Chat, I see a lot of questions and relevant comments, so keep them coming here. Let's bring up a few of these because I've started them along the way. Randy Hlarski, what's going on? Said hey to you earlier, man. I moved to V2 initially. I stayed there for a few days, and my rewards were so low that I went back to V1 for the farm. I mean,
Randy is the patient man.
5
5 days.
God damn it!
I gave it like 1 or 2
days.
to
Me
try it
too.
out. Yeah, it's just like, nothing's doing over here. So, but I think it sounds like, a few of us actually did that. Let's see. Effortless question, gents. The smart contracts on both sides pay yield depending upon the percentage of stakers. If there is a much higher yield on eHEX, which compensates a 20 to 30% difference, the whales will pay. Tobiwan likes that one.
It would make sense, but
Mathematically,
I
makes
cannot
sense.
speak for
We'll
the
see.
whales.
Jim Hall, interesting. All the talk is about farming now. So is Hex staking dead or not as profitable? Question mark.
Power of T-shares. Do your research.
I was say you have to do your maths and your time frame and it's not a set it and forget it like my friend Peter down here would like to do right now. Perhaps later.
We'd all like to do that.
Yeah, right.
But
and also,
I think
remember, I'm sorry, go ahead.
go ahead. I was gonna say this early on, like those ratios and yields need to be monitored because they are very much in flux.
Changing
for a while. Yeah.
But do also keep in mind that in one sense you have immutable code, and the other one, the hand offers a farm, and the hand 5 days later may take that farm away.
Yes.
Ah.
Hey, I've got a farm question. I'm very curious what you guys think about this. My only yield farming experience was on Matic, right? When QuickSwap was a thing like a couple years ago. So here's my question. At what point do you think, if at all, Richard's going to start incentivizing PRC, ERC20 pairs like Link or Aave or other things that, I don't know which ones are going to be most likely to come over and support activity on Pulse Chain and have communities that would, get in there and start, doing stuff. But when those will be incentivized, because it seems like that's going to draw more people into the ecosystem. And intuitively, I feel like that's a good thing. But then, obviously for the Ink token, that could be a dumpamental. I don't know, blah, blah, blah. But what do you guys think about farms for things that are not Richard Hart coins?
I'm into it. I think that there should be some. It's interesting because the thing that's interesting to me is that you get in this hierarchy of there's all these Hex and Hex ecosystem based tokens that might feel sad boys if they don't get their rewards in there too, and incentivizing Chainlink before Hedron or Maxi might not feel great for some people, but it might be better for onboarding new entries. I don't know, honestly. I'm not sure that incentivizing the wrapped Bitcoin pair was brought any Bitcoin users on board.
Right? Not even claiming back in the Hex AA days wasn't a thing with Bitcoin. Somehow it looks like those people don't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
They just want their Bitcoin and that's it. Don't interact. Don't want to trade it for other things.
So I do think that ERC20 users are going to be more inclined to play than Bitcoiners would be.
Who knows? Maybe one thing. What ERC20, PRC20 copies are active? How many of those have moved? How many people have interacted? Maybe that's should be something that Richard or someone else should look at and think about. Okay, those folks are active. Let's give them some small farming opportunity, like 1x farm.
Yeah, let's stoke the fire. Right. Stoke the fires to get them on. If they're already showing some interest and it's a sound product that has some utility of some sort, it's not some bullshit bot community. It's get them in the door, right? Get them over there. Let them try to figure it out.
When bullshit bot token.
Yeah, right.
Yes,
Tomorrow.
please.
Someone will have it by tomorrow.
You like to leverage
Yeah,
on
the
that.
amount of meme coins is absurd.
Where all the white women at? That's our next question. I mean,
Well,
this is a worldwide community, so why are we just sticking to Caucasians? We have
Yeah.
Yeah, right. What's with all
lovely
the
women
cis
from
Where
all
the
over
Asian
the
chicks?
Yeah.
Where's the diversity?
Asking for something you're not gonna get around here, man.
Yeah, right.
Toby's
It's crypto.
transitioning, so does that count?
Yeah.
But,
Slowly,
like,
the hormones are working.
Oh
yes.
boy. The Island Boy. All right, next. Viva Hex 5555. There should be, this is a comment by the way. There should be just a simple toggle button when providing liquidity. You can get the ink token or fees, but not both. V1, V2 is indeed confusing for noobs.
I think there should be a physical joystick that you can like put on your screen and just flick it like this.
Like
Yeah,
play
That's what
Asteroid.
noobs need.
Mm.
Yeah, noobs need that shit.
Just move it to V2.
Power City said they have an on and off ramp coming soon. Anybody else know more on that one? I do not, but I hear
It's
coming soon
I
from
heard it's coming.
them, Coast,
Pulse
maybe
Burn was doing
Pulse
one.
Burn. So,
Yeah.
like we mentioned earlier, like there's tons of like we just cracked the door open, and all the good stuff really that's being built will come to fruition. A lot of it here within the next month or two. So
Nice.
Yeah, something else too. It's like, I mean, you guys were around in the beginning days of Hex, and we saw the all-time low. And I can only speak for myself, but I think a lot of people, the reason we found an all-time low is the buying pressure dried up, because it's like you saw it drifting down. Guy didn't really have a track record of actually being a coin creator. Maybe we were listening to the FUD, and I scaled back from doing an ETH a day down to like 1/10 of an ETH on that day. And like I look back at that and I'm like, oh God, ETH was only like $150. What the fuck? I only put in $15 on the all-time low, you pussy. So it's like with this, it's like now from having had that experience, and now Richard has a track record. Pulse chain is out. PulseX is out. Yeah, there's some stuff that's not 100% perfect out of the gate, but nothing is. I think comparatively, he's done pretty good this early on.
Really good.
And
I mean,
to me, it's like I'm doing the opposite of what I did at the all-time low for Hex. It's like I got cautious. Now it's like I'm throwing everything that's not nailed down at it, because it's like even if we push down another 50%, still, could my bag be bigger? But I could also be waiting for a dip that never comes, and then I'm left with a big bag of dry powder as the price runs away.
and you
like,
tell
yeah,
that
yeah,
to
sure,
your woman,
DCA
Toby.
in.
I do.
You tell that
every
to
day.
her. I don't. Do you, babe? Do you want to be sitting here with a bag of dry powder? No.
Yeah. Do
nobody does.
you want a bag of cash, or would you rather have this shiny internet money token?
Honey, this dirty,
This
filthy
magic
fiat.
crypto.
Come on.
Gross. It's inflation, just
It's
riddled
not-
with it. But
This paper
but
smells
Big
like
K, you
ass.
could probably speak to this. It's like with I feel like there was a chart or something somewhere that said like in the lifetime of Bitcoin, it's like there's 30 days. Like if you weren't in, you missed like the vast majority of the pump.
Yeah, it's like
So that's
yearly.
kind
It's
of my
something like
logic.
6 days each year.
It's even less than that. Yeah, it's like
majority of the moves.
6 to 10.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's like, do you really want to like wait to go lower? It's like that. I mean, yeah. Do I have dry powder? Absolutely. Is most of it deployed right now? Absolutely, because it's like you don't know when the pump's going to come. So not financial advice.
I think Pulse Chain will do the same thing Hex did. First 3 months, meh, and then it will be like, oh yeah, it's the best thing ever.
Yep.
Woo-hoo.
There was
I
a
mean,
God
it-
whale candle at some point, and then it
Something like that.
Right.
I'm
But-
sure.
Right.
Speaking of like a God whale candle, even though I didn't check, I don't think it's God whale, but Ink got like a huge buy. I guess what was it? A few
$1 million.
days ago, and just
About
sent
$1
that
million
thing
bucks,
flying
right?
for a little
Yeah.
bit. Of course, it was exit liquidity for everyone after, but that was a
Sure.
very interesting buy by someone. Was it like $1 million buy? Or something?
Is
I'm
that
all
Big
in
K? Big
ink.
Big K's giggling over there. I
Oh,
don't
sorry.
know
Was that you, Big K? Did I
that-
use you as exit liquidity? No. it was just-
No, he's inking in.
There you go. Oh, look at him. He's, oh, yeah, I don't know, man. There are a lot of nonverbals.
Just going on the reaction there.
Thank you for your service.
He's
That's
speculating on the future value.
He
Of
sips his
Ethereum.
rosé. I love it. I love it.
Question from Dustin Wilson. Providing liquidity on V2, so that's the fee side for eHEX HEX, there's a 7-day APR of 17.5%. Shouldn't I be seeing my coin count go up every day, or is there another way to see the fees that have been accruing?
No, it's the fees are calculated or added to the whole pool, like on both sides. It's not like V3 on Uniswap.
Yeah, so
it's not really like, it's not in front of your eyes. You cannot see it like, oh, okay, those are my my earnings.
I do think it says there at the bottom. It's like it's calculated in real time, so
is it?
they're there, right?
They-
Yeah, when you
it's
do,
Well, I'll be.
it
lumped
says
in with
like
your
the
total, I think.
0.22% or whatever that is, and then
Oh,
but
it
that's-
says.
Yeah, I think RuneSkeez
So-
has the answer here. Rewards
so-
are added to both sides, a bit on each pair, and it's constant.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
that's
What-
the way
that's
I
what
read
I
it.
wanted to say.
Yep,
But
yep.
And
But
when
you don't have the
take-
words, Peter. I know.
yes.
And Randy
The-
follows
the
up.
English.
When you take the liquidity out,
Mean,
you'll see
Papah,
the PLP is different.
So looks like Richard just tweeted
Uh-oh.
that the
Uh-oh.
original 4,096 validators are turning off. Their 32 million deposits and any rewards they received will be burnt as their exits the process.
I called it. Because it's like, I mean, that is like a big payday bonus for validators and for Pulsicans universally, right? Because it's like, that's going to reduce the supply. That's a pumpamental. And that's something that could be done quarterly. That's something that could be done annually. You know,
No
where it's like all of a
expectations.
Well, it'll
sudden
be
it's
a
like-
one-time thing if they all don't turn back on.
Yeah,
right. Well, yeah, obviously, but it's like, but if they turn off, it's burnt. Their deposits
Yeah,
are
it's
burnt.
gone.
So the
So
only way
it's
they get
about-
back in is if they redeposit, right? So
What is it,
if
like
they
another
redeposit, then that could be a lever that he could
130
pull to adjust inflation of Pulse Chain, right?
Yeah. Oh my.
There we go.
So
Wow.
how many
that's
billion
good.
is that?
130
Sweet.
billion? 131 billion.
Finally, there's a silver lining to the
Plus
shitty
the
cloud
fees.
of a day it is. Since I'm a validator, I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
And that's going to be
You-
constant because the pool is going to be smaller for validators, so the
Right.
rewards go up too.
The yield, yeah, our yield will get up
Yeah.
there. Yep.
Yes. Yes. Congrats, validators. Exactly how Randy said.
Exactly
So that-
how Peter said. Congrats, you validators.
Big
So
K,
wait a
you're
second.
still
Isn't this a
Are you
is this
mocking
not a
me?
sign?
Everyone
Wait,
is mocking me.
wait.
Really?
This, I gotta say this. It's like this is very much signs of a toxic relationship because your girlfriend just did something really shitty to you and then turns around and does something really nice. And it just fucks your head all up. So it's like, wait a minute. It's like he just crushed the price on eHEX and then turns around and is like, okay, well, hey, I'm gonna give you this instead. I don't know, man. It's like that's the kind of you need to see a therapist about
Stockholm
this
syndrome.
relationship dynamic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, a big K, you once opined that being a validator was a whole lot more difficult than mining, and you were kind of skeptical of that. Have you changed your mind? Or are you
No, I
back
don't
into
know.
mining?
Oh, no. I didn't say it was a whole lot more difficult. I think it's actually easier than mining overall. Like,
Oh, okay.
I mean, running one server that could be parsed out into hundreds of validators is considerably easier than running lots of machines with high wattage at extreme temperatures. All
Okay.
that for sure. I'm not denying that. Yes, part of me, this part over here, or maybe it's this part down here. I'm not sure, but part of me feels the FOMO and is like, when I see that, I'm like, oh man, I should have done a validator, should have done some validators, but no, I said that I didn't want to do one because I didn't want the work involved, period. Like I just didn't want to deal with it. And I mean, like, and I see the gains people making, and I'm all like, I see the gains
Right.
people making, and I think that's cool. And like like I said, there is a piece of me that grows when I see that. That's like, oh, you should have been doing the validator thing. You could have been working extra hard to do that. But like, there's a much larger portion of me that is enjoying not dealing with that. So
Yeah,
I'm
don't
with
do
you,
it.
Big K.
Don't do
I
it,
mean,
dude. It's too much work. I don't think anyone should come on as a validator at this point.
And that's the other thing too is that like in the
What a
long
shitty
term,
thing to say.
It's really hard.
I do think that like as Richard powers more down, I believe that you'll see more power up. And as if price appreciates at all, then you're gonna find that there's 20,000 validators will be eventually 40,000 validators. I mean, there's just no, so like when you get past 40, 50,000 validators and your APY is going to go from wherever it's at, 20 some odd percent now down to below 10%. It's going to, at that point in time, long term going forward, it'll feel to me more like a job than just making mad gains, is. So that's where I'm at. Like, I'm not saying no. I think that it's super cool for those doing it. Congrats on all of them for making more gains and for securing the network. Good on all of you. I appreciate the effort, and you do not have to worry, at least at this point in time,
you're not going to come
in
steal
my
our
farm, coming online. I enjoy. I don't have any mining. I'm putting some solar in here, and I'm making a bunch of extra power. And I still am not that inclined to put a machine in here. So like if I'm not going to do that, I'm probably not going to put a validator up anytime soon. I enjoy just pontificating on it and giving y'all some slow claps when good things happen. So you're good. No, but definitely is easier if someone is out there thinking, should I go into GPU mining or should I go into fucking validating? By all means, validating is leaps and bounds easier.
Maybe you made that observation back before the consensus was changed.Maybe before V2.
Maybe it might have been. I mean, being one of 33 in a rotation like that would be a considerably harder barrier for entry. When it was in that sort of style.
And the hardware required as well, right?
Oh yeah, it was much more intensive. Exactly. So, no, I mean, like I said, is there a piece in somewhere inside of me that's like, damn? But there's a much larger part of me that feels like,
well said.
Enjoyed.
Got it.
Nice.
Anyone who's mined seems to have that sentiment. I have friends that were miners, and they're like, "You can have it, man."
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel too. Like I still have. I mean, I've chased off most of my prospective buyers for mining equipment because when people, the stuff that I have, people have come to me about it. I'm like, do you like yourself? Do you want to like actually make money? Do you want to like not have stress all day long? Then please don't buy this shit. Like,
do you like yourself?
Do you like yourself? I mean, well, a lot of times it's other people that come to me that are like, "Hey, my friend wants to get into mining." I'm like, "Do you like your friend? Are you
that's a sales pitch.
Actually your friend?" Because if you
so pitch it to your enemies is what you should say. Hey, man, have I got an opportunity for you?
Yeah, exactly. So no, I'm not exactly a good salesman in that regard either. I'm mostly like, run away.
Okay, let's build on the sentiment and like let's have people go to eHEX chart price and don't click log. Don't click log. Don't do it.
Don't ever do it. Yeah. Don't ever click log. Just believe all the other people what they tell you.
I mean, just don't do it right now. It looks worse.
Big K carries the scars of all those years of Bitcoin mining. It's like I can't imagine the grind that was. So I'm sure that's informing your decisions a bit.
And again, because the way that the markets work, there's good times in there that you have this memory for like, oh man, remember when I made so much on this launch or whatever, like Zcash came out and made a whole bunch on that shit, but like there's a whole bunch of other shit that I'm like, man, there's way more repressed hot moments in a mine with fans and the noise and this thing broke and that thing sucks and whatever, like the fucking drivers won't work, reinstalling shit, whatever. It's a lot of work, so no, don't recommend it for anyone. Hobby wise, for sure, if you're really into the pain, by all means. But Richard is right. Majority of the 99% of the time, if you just buy the coins instead of the hardware, you'll do better.
Yep.
So,
well, that was the thing too that I was debating after I spun up some validators, was like the yield was so much better on yield farming than you could make validating. So it's just like, it's like maybe I turn off some of those validators and go do some yield farming. But yeah, I mean, there's options out there. And plus, it's like, you got to realize, like, Richard's like, a self-professed like master marketer, right? So, I mean, in a way, it's like he's marketing to us to just be like, hey, here's an opportunity to lock up more of your pulse and come and validate and earn some yield, because, there's a gap now because these guys just burned all of this and the supply's down. So, we got to keep the Ponzi going, right?
That's heresy. Burn him.
How dare you say that, Toby?
The twist of all
I was thinking about we need to do a meme of, like, instead of My Little Pony, like My Little Ponzi, and do like a whole animated series.
The twist of all this is that behind that curtain, behind Big K, is just racks and racks of validators. For
Right. I thought I heard a hum.
Guys, don't do it. This is awful. It's terrible. You see like smoke back there. Kidding. No, I like your logic, Big K. I'm on that side as well. But we also cheer the good actors.
Of course, without those actors doing their job, then we wouldn't be here now, and Richard wouldn't be able to. The early validators wouldn't be turning off. So like it's a good thing. I've no like cheers to those that are doing the hard stuff. I've been there. I'm not there now.
After today's price action, I'm going to be doing the hard stuff.
I'll say, speaking of price action, Hex is all over the place. I think it's like back closer to a penny now. Crispy Man, where's Crispy's comment here? Has an interesting take.
Oh yeah,
for the
Crushing
eHEX crowd. Mark this: when eHEX bottoms, big players will seek control of eHEX. That's my guess. Interesting. M. Rocky has decided to tip more than 200 eHEX by saying throw eHEX down the well. So 200 eHEX, just to say that. Thank you. The show thanks you. So but 200 eHEX, I tell you. All right. Did we just get a huge payout? I mean, Pulse Chain validators are looking better. I don't see any emergency end stakes right now. So if that's what the question was.
Gloom and doom. So
gloom and doom.
We blew through.
But everyone's bags, Toby.
Yeah, right there around the 1 cent mark. We blew through that red zone, and we're working our way down now through the next level, or to the next level, which is 873. And then you can see with this yellow parallel channel, it's played out nicely. It looks like we had support on the midline. We've broken through that at the moment. Do we come all the way down here to the bottom of the yellow channel? That's confluence, and that's right at 007. So that's something I've been looking for a minute. No shit, had limit orders set there all the way since January, because I thought that was one of those scenarios where it's like I thought that the dip was going to be dippier, and it never got there. But it looks like that's all on the radar.
Dippity doo dah.
Possible.
Dippity day.
Possible. I'm down 10% on my buy that I did right before I came on stream already. So, but hey,
nice.
I'm not sweating.
I told you, Toby. Don told you.
I know. I'm like, I think we can get a bounce at a penny. I'm like, oh wait, boom! Look at that. Whoa! Damn it! I need to shut the fuck up about these chips and keep buying them up before I can get to them. God, dang it!
There's over 200 people watching now, Toby. Your word is getting out. They're
apparently
taking your discount away, man. So
only the finest people are watching Cabana Crypto. So
that's right.
It's the whales like hovering on their matcha buy button.
All the whales are silent in chat. So I do like that the selling as the price is coming down, the volume is also coming down now as well. So that's
Yeah.
I guess if you're looking for a short-term positive, that could be one, but who knows? Who knows?
That was crazy. We just saw that wick happen real time. And that was on the hour chart. I bet that's even more brutal on like the 15. I bet it was just.
I
like,
think it was
zip.
John Wick.
There it is. Wham! There's that big green candle right there.
What is this? 1 minute chart? Oh,
That's
no.
the 15.
Pump rants?
The 1 minute's the
Okay.
crackhead chart. Yeah, that's the 1 minute.
I mean, even
that's a
even
pretty-
15-minute chart. That's like, woohoo.
That's that's an 11% move in like a 15-minute candle. That's a pretty good little bumpity doo-dah. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes, bro. But we're back to the midline, so we'll see if that holds the support and we start working our way back up.
No,
I
we
don't
need
know.
more pain.
I think so
More
too.
pain?
I mean,
More.
I'm an eternal optimist, but I think there's going to have to be deeper sorrow to really shake people out.
Yeah, we
and to attract buyers.
need some people to be like, I regret everything. Somebody gets on
Yes.
stream and is like, I regret my sacrifice.
Can you-
I regret the last 2
Right.
years.
Come
of
on, guys.
streaming.
You don't even
Hexologist,
believe that.
hexologist,
Yeah.
come on and
Just-
say
just
like you're
somebody
just
to say,
out.
We just need
and
somebody to just ready to
done.
throw
Yeah.
themselves.
It's
off
the
a cliff.
start of the bull market.
R-
What are you
RG3,
guys talking about?
He's done. Yeah.
Oh God.
I think that
Hey,
I think
Cabana,
that
did you
if we do that, then we can go up. But we need a sacrifice.
did you see the video I posted? It's Tim Robbins is a hilarious comedic actor, and he's got a show called I Think You Should Leave. But it's from an earlier show he was on called The Characters, and he's like walking into a casino. And I posted, I'll have to find it and share the link. But it's just such a funny bit because it's like the bipolarness of our community, like so perfectly just demonstrated. Because it's like he's walking into a casino, he's like high on life, he's like, you know, just singing a song, and then it craps out. He's like, I'm ruined, you know.
Yeah.
It's just
Oh, yeah.
That's about
it's so
right.
good.
Yeah.
It's so good. And then it's like, I'm on top of the world. I'm ruined. I'm on top of the world. Yeah. So it's better than drugs, kids. Crypto.
I don't know if I can.
Kids, you will lose a lot of hair.
That's why I'm wearing the hat.
Handyman asks, any Hexkins from AZ? I need a good CPA. So any Hexkins in that area, you know, contact your local handyman, or this handyman, actually, I should say. Price down.
Find a tax attorney.
Hexo has to sleep on the couch. Aha. Nice.
My experience has been most CPAs you're going to know more about crypto than they do, and there's so much ambiguity in the crypto laws.
I can
in the
agree with
States
that.
currently. Yeah, it's like you're better off getting a tax attorney, in my opinion, that can advise you on, you know, what posture to take if you want to be moderate or conservative or more aggressive in your interpretations of the laws as they're written. But CPAs are, in my opinion, most of the time are a waste of time. Tax attorney is better.
Okay. Well, my experience in this godforsaken country is that 9 out of 10 accountants will say no to you when you explain to them what you want from them to be doing.
Same.
Like it's horrible.
Yep.
There are like, I don't know, this many people doing accounting in Slovakia for crypto. Like,
Oh yeah.
oh god,
Yeah.
damn it.
It's the same here. It's like they're all super on the conservative side. It's like, well, and it's just they're covering their own asses. So it's like they're just very cautious, and they're like, oh no, everything's income. Everything's income. Oh, you walked across the street? Yeah, that's income. You know, and it's like, yeah, and yeah. There's some ambiguity in the law that is. I mean, it's like you're still paying your taxes, right? It's like, you know, I'm not trying to dodge anything. I'm not like moving to Puerto Rico or anything, but it's like I'm just teasing. I looked at I love Puerto Rico. It's like if I didn't have elderly parents, I'd already be in Puerto Rico. I love it down there. But yeah, it's like there's ways to mitigate your tax consequence legally. Just like do your research, find a good tax attorney that can advise you properly for such things.
Maybe not one in Arizona. I don't know. Just
Maybe. I mean,
maybe
Bad experience with Arizona.
there is one there. He was asking about Arizona, so
Yeah.
Hex crystal meth.
That's fine.
Are the Hex OG still going to only onboard eHEX? Where's Funding Jim? Funding Jim is doing the Lord's work across the world, onboarding, I think, everyone into everything, all coins, I do believe. And he, last I checked, is still quite the bull on eHEX. So I don't know. Maybe that wick that we saw on that chart was Funding Jim. He's not in this.
Let's hope so.
So yeah. Who knows? What else we have? Liam, people who say eHEX is broken because of ETH need to realize that Pulse Chain is a fork of ETH. Communities should be careful with the precedent set by that narrative. eHEX is the counter trade now. Kind of what Crispy Man was saying a little bit ago. And I think that pretty much brings us to the end of all the questions / comments. Jim, again, let the big players control eHEX. Maybe I'll get a good price when I have a stake due. Pump my bags, whales, but I'll be on Pulse Chain. That's the reason it was built. And this guy, Jay, or is it Papah? Hey, Cabana and Big K. Thanks for having me / us on today.
He just left to throw the chat.
Love and kisses. So there you go.
What a guy.
We're over an hour-ish. Any closing thoughts before we go on? Oh, yeah. I guess while I have you two over here.
I thought we were going to get out of it.
Nope. There's that chair behind you, Big K. It says the highest of stakes on it in front of your validator curtain. So we had an update from RG. Basically, it was an update of an update saying we're going to get more updates on the Pulse Chain Tour. So to me, and tell me I'm wrong. Please tell me I'm wrong. This sounds like no highest of stakes for months. I'll just ask. Okay, that answers the question. So, highest of stakes, Christmas 2023, everybody.
Let's just put it this way. I'm more bullish on the highest of stakes than I am on the eHEX chart right now.
That's a
good statement. That's a good. I like the way you put that, Toby.
It's not saying a whole lot.
I can corroborate. I'm more bullish on highest of stakes too. I think just soon.
2 weeks, right?
2 more weeks.
That's too soon.
There's RG was not lying. There are some cool updates in the works.
Things are happening. Okay. Things are
behind that video that you can see on the Pulse Chain Tour, pulsechaintour.com. You can't see it there, but you can go there for more information on or you can go
a prolonged trailer
physically to see the prolonged. Was it 10 minutes ish?
Something like that. Yeah.
That's like a movie,
right?
It's a short film,
short attention span theater.
Yes. Yeah. So that's something. That's something. Go watch.
Okay,
that.
Well,
it's something.
Thank you for.
I think there's going to be some cool stuff
compared to the eHEX chart, which looks like dog pile. So
it's not great. It's not great.
Actually, it's all eHEX. It's burning in Canada and doing this smoke.
Is that the haze we see? It is kind of orangish,
Yeah, the moon was orange here last night. I mean, it's sunny outside, but the sky is just like whitish gray, just because of all the smoke here. So, but
crazy stuff. Well, thanks for having me on, man. It was fun.
Yeah.
As always.
Wish I had the natural beach background, but smoky Canadian charcoal factory with Godzilla isn't bad either. So
that's pretty great.
All right, well, let's close this thing out. Tobiwan, where can we find you and tell us anything else interesting? Perhaps a harder date for the highest of stakes. I'm kidding.
Highest of stakes, man. It's like it's coming. Trust me, it's coming. I'm very, very excited about the direction that we are headed and what is on the cusp of being publicly known. I can tell you that. So I'm really, and quite frankly, one could speculate that is why I'm so vigorously buying at these levels.
Ooh.
Because I feel like highest of stakes when this thing occurs is going to be a gigantic pump of metal. you could speculate that.
There you go.
So yeah, excited about that. As far as like finding me, is I'm probably pretty well known at this point for my Tobiwan TA time, daily TA updates, primarily on eHEX at this point. I'm going to be doing PHEX and PulseX and Pulse as well. Kind of helps you inform your DCA decisions, so you can see where supports and resistances are likely to be and buy or sell accordingly. And that's just at Tobiwan_Hexobi on Twitter.
Boomba. Big K, where can we find you, good sir?
Oh, you can find me here sometimes. You can find me.
I heard a rumor of a steak and bake, but that did not happen.
Oh yeah, it didn't happen. We're gonna do it soon. Steak and bake soon. Probably sooner than the soon that I gave you for the movie.
Wouldn't doubt that.
For sure.
But no promises. You know, we are a bunch of stoners.
Shout
you
out
can
Tangent
find-
and Freddie Quotes. All right.
Yeah. You can find us there, Steak and Bake. You can find me here, Twitter, Telegram, and hopefully high stakes soon. And then
Soon.
that's it. That's it.
Peter, where can we
Yeah.
find you aside from What the Hex, or is that the only place that we can find you? Unless we go to Europe.
Sometimes Tuesdays on Wake Up
That
Hex.
god
and
awful country that you were
Sundays-
talking about.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's pretty small. Like that, you have good chances to find me somewhere here when you come here.
Yeah.
And on Sundays, I'm doing the stream in my native language, and yeah, we cry there in in Slovak.
A slow group cry.
Over a big cold bowl of potato soup.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
That
that's
sounds- it is lunchtime, so I might go.
I know, I'm getting hungry.
But probably not potato soup because everything else is like.
had potato soup for lunch today.
Did you?
Go figure. I did.
Nice call, Peter.
Yeah, we were gonna have some wagyu for dinner, and I told her, I'm like, put it back in the freezer. We're broke. I'm like, we can't have the wagyu.
Gotta buy more
Like I
eHEX.
said, it's hot dogs, bitch.
Hot dogs until the price goes up.
Well,
That's right.
Hot
We're
dogs until the
ruined.
dip is over. All right.
hot dogs still 2025.
2025. Oh. All right. See, we can even have fun with a bearish chart. It's all good.
We have no choice, man.
We have no
Yeah.
choice. But we've been here long
Laugh
enough
or cry.
where we're comfortable with it, and we know
Yeah.
the good side of it. So
I've been partying on the way down since Big Payday. All right.
So you're the seller.
since the
Okay.
Food Rouge eulogy, we've been partying on the way down. So, yeah. Shout out Freddie Quotes, my man. All right. I am the Cabana Crypto Man, and we will actually be in studio one last time before I take off to travel for the summer, and then we'll be doing destination happy hours from who knows where, probably nice looking locations, weather permitting behind me, but one last studio show next week. Don't even know what we're planning for that, who the guests are. If you have a guest idea, hit me up on the socials, but hopefully Big K, co-host down yonder, can make that, and we'll see what we come up with. But thanks to everybody for all your questions, comments in the chat. Y'all are awesome, even for an impromptu noon show on a Thursday. Y'all showed up, and it was outstanding. So thanks,
Yes.
everybody, and stay tuned on the socials for when we'll see you next week. Cheers.